Hello, my name is Rene Salazar, and this is my presentation on online versus face-to-face communication. So, I have a question for you all. How much of your communication happens online compared to face-to-face? We use a lot of social media apps nowadays, and we both have a lot of face-to-face and online communication nowadays as well. And so it's good to learn about both ways of communicating, and it's very, since they are something that we use in our daily lives and are very important to learn about. And in the next presentation, we'll be delving into that. So here's some definitions. Our first definition about online communication is from the textbook Multidisciplinary Applications of Computer-Mediated Communication by Buet and Kimura, published in 2023. Online communication refers to the exchanging information and ideas through electronic communication technologies, such as the internet, social media platforms, and messaging apps. While our face-to-face communication by Oxnard reference says that synchronous social interaction between individuals co-present in the same physical place, normally through speech and nonverbal communication. So, these are some of the characteristics of online and face-to-face communication. So online, you usually do it through phones, computers, social media, and text. With online, you're not physically present, and there's no non-verbal communication because you're texting or wording or talking to each other through words and not face-to-face. While face-to-face, it's in-person and non-verbal communication, along with different social cues like shaking your leg, and you could tell, and non-verbal communication in itself is like a way of communicating too that you lack with online communication. So these are the table of contents: central subpoints, cues filtered out theory, hyperpersonal communication theory, comparisons and key points, takeaway/conclusion, and sources. So some central subpoints before we delve into the theories are that with online communication, so it's very convenient and more accessible. It takes less energy to try to set up with while face to face you have to make an appointment or run into the person that you want to talk to. With face-to-face, though, you also get nonverbal communication, like I said before. You use hand size, eye movements, and facial expressions, and is a way to more understand what another person is feeling or saying when you're communicating to them. So, central subpoints continue. Online communication. Has social isolation sometimes. Online communication can lead, not always though, to people feeling more isolated and lonely. I know during the pandemic, a lot of people felt lonely because while they did have online communication, they didn't have face-to-face communication, and that physical talking wasn't there, and as such, they felt lonely. While face-to-face communication, for a lot of people, it's harder to talk to others. It can be difficult to talk to each other face-to-face because somebody may have social anxiety and may be nervous when talking to somebody in face-to-face or in person. So cues filtered out theory. A theory that states that online communication or social media can inhibit the formation of social relations and social skills. So some of the characteristics of online communication is that online communication lacks social cues and nonverbal communication. People that use online communication can start to only use online communication, which isn't always like that, of course. But such things can lead to, which the theory claims, it can lead to the decrease in a person's social skills, and normal things like talking to others face to face may become difficult because of online communication and being so used to that. But there are some benefits that the theory states that it can make rigid relationships more open and less hierarchical. Because with face to face, somebody who's more outgoing may just be more better at communicating with others in person compared to other friends. And with online communication, that doesn't really happen since everybody's as social as each other, and usually it leads to more open and less rigid relationships than compared to in-person communication. So the next theory is hyperpersonal communication theory. Theory that premises that online communication or computer-mediated communication can help lead to more stronger relationships than compared to face-to-face communication or interactions. So There's several things that to break down with hyperpersonal communication theory. So first are the senders. So these people are the people who send messages, and the theory claims that they have a greater control of their self-presentation because they get to choose what to write and how they present themselves. While in person, you kind of get first impressions through how somebody looks, how, their social cues, or like their facial expressions. While with receivers, these people are the people who receive the messages from the senders, and because they lack a face-to-face communication, can't make assumptions. They make impressions based off of what they say, and this leads to them probably making a better impression of the sender because senders usually try to present themselves better. And then the next component is asynchronous channels. It lets people communicate with others at their pleasure. So basically, you're able to communicate with somebody and stop having a conversation for them for an hour, and then take a break, and then go back and like communicate with each other, which leads to like somebody just not being so tired talking to others, and leads to them like having a better relationship. And then finally, feedback processes. Online communication can magnify the communication senders and receivers do, due to the minimal cue environment, which is what I stated, where they where the assumptions that receivers make leads to them making better impressions because they don't have the nonverbal cues to go off of, and such it leads to more hyperpersonal relationships. So why learning about both ways of communication is important? Both are often used in our daily lives, like I mentioned. Both are important to understand and to know how these ways of communication can affect us. And understanding both can lead to a greater understanding of how to communicate with others and how different forms of communication can lead to different relationships. So the key takeaway. Both theories have their good points for arguing for face-to-face communication or online communication. Overall, both forms of communication have their strengths and weaknesses. Not one way of communication is better than the other, though both theories make their good points. Both communications are better as good as each other, and having skills in both forms of communication can be great since both will still be the cornerstone of the main way of communicating for a long while. I don't think online communication or face-to-face communication can go anywhere else, or will be going anywhere. And these are my sources. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and have a good day.